Effortlessly sinking two countries right down the drain, Dublin-born striker Troy Parratt is the big talking topic of this action-packed international break. 2 games, 5 goals and the World Cup qualifiers to look forward to. Today we'll be analysing who Troy Parratt is, his development, what he's like as a player, but then also his future endeavours. Now in and around 2019 and before that, Troy Parratt was a really highly rated young player at Tottenham Hotspur. Parrott joined North London at just 15 years of age. He progressed finely throughout the Spurs youth ranks, not just impressing but starring at the forefront of Tottenham's youth development. Spurs thought a lot of him. He was starting in their pre-season tournaments against the likes of Juventus and Man United in 2019. In 2019, the Irishman featured in his senior debut for Spurs under Mauricio Pochettino against Colchester, as he went on to make 4 senior appearances that year before a loan the following. Parrott then went on to make 4 EFL loan spells at just 21 years of age. First up, it was Millwall, which turned out to be a pretty underwhelming spell in the Championship. After 14 appearances, Spurs grabbed him back and sent him a division down to Ipswich Town in League One, which saw him make 2 goals in 18 games. So again, another fairly stifle loan spell. The following season, morale was lifted as Parrott netted 10 goals and 6 assists for MK Dons in 47 games. Plenty of action there. But then in the final piece of EFL action saw another tough spell. 4 in 34 for Preston North End put a pause to the Irishman's English journey, as this time in Holland put his career back on track. It's always interesting when a young player from Ireland or England goes abroad to a foreign language, to a foreign place, to a foreign league and thrives. It's such a test of their character and mentality, with all the challenges of moving to a foreign country, of course learning that language, experiencing a new league and culture, but Parrott grasped the opportunity and never looked back. Development over in Holland has been as clear as day, particularly in his all-round game and mostly those numbers. This is a shot map from his first year in the Eredivisie. Only 1 goal scored when aiming to the left of the goal, taking a huge preference to placing shots on his right. This is his second season in Holland, and as you can see, still preferring those bottom corners, but a little more flexibility in his shot placements. And by the time we reach this season, it's much more varied. And when he's given time, a little time to shoot, he composes himself excellently with a great finish. A really cool finisher. So if you're a defender, do not give him time in the box. But an excellent initial loan spell saw Parrott take the permanent switch over to a new team in AZ Alkmaar for around 5 to 7 million euros. The young man felt that despite its challenges, moving over to Netherlands relieved him of the pressure that was asserted onto him over in England, over at Tottenham, whilst working on his game to work to his strengths. Nowadays, Parrott is smashing 33 goals in his last 2 seasons, and 6 for the national team since his switch to Holland. Despite there being a few links in the transfer window to Leeds, Parrott has been going about his business quietly in Europe up until his all-time performance against Hungary, really asserting himself as a national hero, putting himself on the big stage, putting his name out there. A 23-year-old is a reminder that just because a young player struggles at one club on loan, it doesn't define him. It's the first time a young footballer will be posed with the challenges of moving away from home, and in most cases, becoming an adult, maturing, adapting. There's so many examples of big footballers today who shared bad loan spells but are fantastic now. Harry Kane at Leicester and Norwich, Morgan Rogers at Blackpool and Bournemouth, Liam Delap at Stoke and Preston. I could go on and on and on. Parrott at 23 years old has nearly 250 senior appearances under his belt, with those dark but useful EFL days well behind him. Ahead of this, I watched loads and loads of footage of Troy Parratt throughout his time in England, Holland, for the national team, and he's a very interesting player. He's not a touch heavy number 9 like a Voltemada. He's not a target man number 9 like a Zalap or Matata. But for me, he's a very energetic, sharp, minimal touches number 9 that uses his movement, sharpness, finishing and quick, slick link-up play to attack an opponent with speed. And when I say he's sharp, I mean he's sharp. His first ever goal in senior football epitomises that sharpness and springing to life brilliantly. It's like he's sleeping off the ball yet reacts so sharply to any misplaced pass or quick turnover. Parrott is full of energy and life throughout his all-round game and doesn't slow down whatsoever. He maintains those high levels throughout the 90. His historic third goal against Hungary displays those level of fitness and top level reactions for you, quite simply. The Irishman is someone who doesn't like the ball for long periods of time. He aims to recycle the ball fast, meaning his link-up play is existent but very short, quick, just a few touches. Without the ball, he shares poacher-like instincts in terms of sniffing down danger wherever it is. There's times where he will offer himself towards the ball, but that's more rare, also more instant. His right foot bias means he consistently controls the ball on the right side of his boot, making it easier to turn forwards towards the goal, while his right leg somewhat guards the ball should any challenger from his blind side come right in, allowing him to buy a foul should he need be. Parrott in fact does a pretty good job of manipulating fouls. He scans all over before receiving the ball, so he's aware of the space he has, then invites the challenge, mostly in wide spaces, so it's easier to guard the ball as he knows where opponents will come from, so then it's just a case of getting his foot to the ball right before his opponent. And as we've gathered so far, his sharpness, his reactions, he does an excellent job of that, maximising that light, slim frame of his in moments of pressure. He doesn't have that top level quick feet to be that good all round and beat a man 1v1, but it does look to drive forward teasingly on his right foot, drifting into that left channel. For me, I think he's a striker that is best maximised in a low possession counter-attacking team that looks to make the most out of quick transitions and quick turnovers. It's Parrott's bread and butter to not spend too much time on the ball, and as a team collective join in on the attempts of exploiting open space by using fast link-up play and off-the-ball runs. In order to get the ball though, he needs to move, and Parrott likes to make those awkward runs in the left inside channel, predominantly in between defenders, looking to expose those gaps. He's dangerous as a runner in behind and as a runner into open space, as he shares a pretty good acceleration when carrying the ball forwards. Not so much in tight spaces, naturally, as he prefers free space like any striker does. But I'm pretty sure if you handed Parrott a creative midfielder who could slide through balls through in behind with expertise, he'd be deadly and fully maximised. If we take a look at his in possession stats so far this season, then I think his numbers back what we've been discussing. Not a huge amount of touches every game, with most of those touches occurring in the opponent's attacking penalty area, traditionally what a striker should be, showing he's second for touches in the penalty area in his whole squad. Then he's not really a creator at all, but is a really tidy player when it comes to buying fouls for his team. However, we've not finalised our analysis of his movement. I find his movement in the penalty box to be both clever and instinctive. Here we see those razor sharp movements sprinting up the pitch before he pins back a defender in the box, offering his teammate more space to shoot a goal. There's good evidence of this throughout his time in Holland, as it could be a run across goal to the front post, creating space for those cutbacks by pulling a defender away. Selfless but effective runs. Parrott doesn't feel like a striker that needs to be at the forefront of the team. He doesn't need to be the face of the team. He's selfless and he works well with others. But as we've seen, of course, he is the man for the big moments, as we've seen as of late. Another aspect that comes with receiving the ball is the physical test of other opponents. Parrott, as you may be able to tell, is not the most physically aggressive player in world football. Even off the ball when pressing, steady. He's not massively aggressive, and most of his recoveries and tackles won source from winning those second pulls, probably due to not winning the initial aerial one. But that's okay, not all strikers are aerial heavy, not all strikers are so physical. It's not like he's afraid to engage, but this is definitely a weakness against more physically inviting centre backs. But what he is good at though is finishing. Shooting wise, his numbers are pretty good this season, with 6 goals in 6 starts, a high amount of shots taken are on target, with 23 out of 24 shots taken inside the box with his right foot, showing that he's shooting close to goal. But Parrott to me isn't a parrot in the box, he gives me fox in the box vibes with how sharp and reactive he is to crosses, to passes, to little loose balls. Many of his goals stem from quick turnovers and opposition mistakes, presenting just how fast he moves once possession is regained. He's truthfully a very decent finisher. He places his shots smartly, coolly, with a neat but impressive goal catalogue throughout his career. He doesn't take too long to shoot at all, and I don't think he's taken too long on the ball whatsoever in the penalty box, as he likes to get those shots in early. But amongst those 76 senior goals, quite a few of them have been penalties. He's a penalty specialist. His penalties are often struck low, tucked into the bottom corners. When it's struck to the left of the goal, it's hit with more conviction in his run-up and swing of the ball. And when struck to the right, it's more gently hit and doesn't generate that same momentum on the run-up. It's more passed into the corner. So a smart overall finisher, a man for the big moments, and a penalty specialist. Everyone wants a goal scoring striker who can hack it in the big moments, and the away game in Hungary was a fine example. A hostile away atmosphere, and Parrott bagged 3 goals, 3 important goals. The moment that tested him in the game was in the first half for the equalising penalty. It took him 13 seconds after the whistle went on his first penalty to begin his run-up. Usually when players take that long, it means they may miss. Psychologically, they could be overthinking, changing their minds, looking at the goalkeeper, anything that involves the psychological challenge surrounding a penalty in a hostile away ground. But Troy Parratt did just fine. I actually think he didn't hear the initial whistle from the referee because of how loud the boos, the whistles were in the stadium. That's a show of his character and composure. But if we round off by analysing his abilities off the ball, then as we've discussed, he's not the most aggressive, relentless over presser off the ball, but does provide value here with his immense levels of energy and clever awareness. Against Hungary, he was blocking the pass to Szoboszlai, who sat pretty deep a lot of the time. He was also curving his run to block off passes to wherever the ball was flowing. He's mostly used to sitting off for club and country, but does have that positional IQ and tactical understanding that makes him an even more attractive asset to clubs on the transfer market. And if we're looking at that next step for the young man, then I don't think he's really ready for that top club move. Certainly not ready to move back to Tottenham Hotspur or another top club, but would be ready for a mid-table Premier League team or a European placed team in Italy or Germany. Parrott's show of willingness to take his talents anywhere in Europe opens up so many transfer doors for the future, but right now he's doing just fine where he is. 23 is very young for a striker, and I don't think there's any pressure on him to make a big move as of yet. I think he needs 1 or 2 more years at this level or just above that, because his decision making can be a little bit rushed at times, and overall he is pretty used to being a bit more of a low possession outfit. He's more used to counter-attacking teams as opposed to dominating possession. So if a team comes in, it needs to be the right one for his skill set. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, feel free to smash a like and subscribe to the channel. What do you think of Troy Parratt, and how good of a footballer is he? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.